running the company. So how practical he feels that for the chairman and chief executive, it could be possible to just ask on the accountability. Thank you.
Thank you. As for a source of the balance sheet positions that I gave you, if you go on the internet, you can find balance sheet of US on the internet. But my source, to be frank, this is coming from one of the presentations made in the IFAC sovereign debt seminar. One of the presenters was Deloitte's managing director for clients and markets, Mr. Roger something. I have taken it from his presentation with his permission. I saw that. But I think these countries are publishing these financial statements. And Mr. Muin Fida gave the example of New Zealand. Let me say that New Zealand is probably the best example of accrual-based accounting. Best example in the world. And they implemented it probably 15, 20 years ago, and they recruited for a small country like New Zealand, Muin Saab, they recruited 4,000 chartered accountants when they were going from the cash base to the accrual based accounting. Either way, very few countries are on accrual basis, even the mature economies are not. It's the countries like New Zealand, maybe Australia, Canada, few countries, but most countries are still on single entry basis, and then they prepare they have started preparing balance sheets. This is a recent phenomena, but they're still not on single entry basis. To your other question of age difference, I don't think the sanity comes just by the timing difference. I think I have seen some younger people with much larger age in terms of years of wisdom. So it's not necessarily confined to age. It's the quality of the people and the time that you have spent and where you have spent the time.
I said there are two questions. One is we have a modern competition regime in place in our country. Modern competition regime, competition ordinance in place in our country. And then we have these state-owned enterprises which are endowed with huge subsidies, virtually bailouts at times. So these, endowment of subsidies or bailouts are clearly anti-competitive, because you are competing out you're not giving level playing field. So do you think at any point in time will competition authority move in and stop these subsidies? This is one question. And the second is, do you think it is appropriate to have some constitutional restrictions in terms of business areas where the state can move in?
Dr. will respond to your first question.
Okay. Well, I think it's a very good question about the subsidies. There are two elements to subsidies always. One is, are we subsidizing inefficiencies? And the second is, are we providing subsidies where they are warranted? I don't think all subsidies are bad. Subsidies have to be offered if company is offering a public service obligation on the demand of, say, the legislature or the government, and it should be adequately compensated. There's of course a lot of controversy as to how it should be, on what basis it should be. And if you notice in my presentation, I talked about the formula-based approach, that we need to really estimate the real cost of the service that a company is providing in the interest of the public, and then that compensation has to be given. And it's strictly speaking not necessarily a subsidy, it's a public service obligation, we call it in economics. Now, if it is subsidizing inefficiencies, that is anti-competitive behavior. policy, because what you're doing is you're giving an edge to a public sector relative to a private sector, should a private sector be operating in that sphere. And worst of all, you are actually subsidizing inefficiencies of a company. That is why it is often said that public sector, not every public sector organization is inefficient, but public sector should be driven by competitive forces so that we allow other operators in the same field, which will result in reduction, which will force a reduction in the inefficiencies, and as such reduce the need for subsidy or anti-competitive behavior.
Your second question, if I may just add that I served on the Privatization Commission for 7 years, and there are about 300 plus entities which were supposed to be privatized. But the only restriction on privatization was for the defense areas and to deal with defense sensitivities in the airport and other areas. But generally government has not really imposed any restriction. I will ask Asad Ali Shah to add.
Yeah, I mean, we have said that there should be a policy statement, at least by the government, that first of all, I think, frankly speaking, most of these entities have developed without any strategic thinking by the government. We know that. And obviously, at one point in time, in 70s, the political government nationalized industries because of the manifesto of socialism at that time, and later on all the governments have followed the policy of privatization, that and they have accepted this principle that it is not the business of the government to run the business, and therefore the privatization. But having said that, there are organizations like, for instance, some of the entities like Port Qasim, Karachi Port Trust, Civil Aviation Authority, etc. These are unlikely to be privatized. They will probably remain, because they also have monopolistic and infrastructure, basic infrastructure projects, So there is a need to have a strategy and a policy on this. I'm not sure whether there is a requirement to have it in the constitution.
Yes, sir.
My name is Jawad Shekha, and my question is addressed to Shah Sahab. Shah Sahab, some of the entities you have mentioned in your presentation, like OGTC, PPL, they are already listed on the stock exchanges. And by virtue of that listing, the code for listed companies applies to them. So will this code also apply to those such companies who are already listed on the stock exchanges? And if yes, is there any provision which conflicts with that code? And lastly, don't you think companies which are already performing well, this code will put an extra burden on them? For example, I can see procurement committee and I think there was some other committee as well. This was my question. A suggestion, I think you should also propose comprehensive review of articles of association of SOEs, because many of these articles must have been drafted before the Companies Ordinance in 1994. And if this code gets adopted, I think the articles might conflict with the code.
Code listed and unlisted अगर हैं तो
Yeah. You want me to answer? Okay. देखिए, the companies that are listed, obviously the Code of Corporate Governance, listed companies will apply, the SECP code. But there are certain additional provisions You know,